Hi, I'm Johnny Good from UltimatePaperMache.com. In my last video I showed you that I was going to be trying experimentally to see if I could do a wolf's head over a form that was built over a life-sized human skull. And I think it's actually helping a lot. So it's not done yet. This video isn't going to show the entire thing. It's going to get up to this point where I've just set the basic proportions and blocked in the major shapes. In the next video I'll show you how I put the eyes on there and finish it up. So let's get started. Okay, the first thing we need to do is figure out exactly where on this mass form, and I showed you in my previous video that I made this using a life-size human skull just to get the bones in here, but not necessarily any features. So what I'm now going to be doing is putting features of a wolf, which has a very different skull, of course, onto this human one. And if I hold it up this way, I think you should be able to see that if I put the muzzle so that it extends here, directly on the same line as the human bone, then this will act as actually the top of the wolf's head, and it will need to extend out then at flat up to probably about here. Now I've just put some tin foil over here in the places where it needs to be filled out quite a lot for the top of the head and the muzzle. Basically the only purpose of this tin foil here, or aluminum foil I should say, is to keep me from having to use up too much clay. So now what we need to do is just cover this with a real thin skin. Now I've got the angles pretty close, and I've measured this area from the stop to the end of the nose is the same as my sculpture, as the sketch. But we don't have this area here quite right yet. And I'm also just a little bit concerned about these protruding cheekbones. These of course were from the human skull shape that is underneath here. And I'm not sure that's going to work. If it doesn't, we may need to pull everything out in this direction so that the muzzle will get a little bit farther out, and the eyebrow bone would get a little bit farther out too. Okay, that is exactly what we needed to do. What really helped, and what I should have done to start with, was look at my book here. This is the book, The Atlas of Animal Anatomy for Artists. It's absolutely fantastic. W. Ellenberger. I think it's been reprinted. You can get it out on Amazon. I've had this one for probably 20 or 30 years. The cheekbone, instead of coming down here like it is on our mass form, the cheekbone is actually up here. So what I did in order to get this to work a little bit better is I pulled the stop forward and moved the muzzle, the end of the muzzle out. It still isn't finished, of course. The bottom shape of this isn't correct, but I got the top at the right angle now, and I measured it so it's the same length as the one on my sketch, and the eye is still going to go in the same place. It'll go right here, and then when the muzzle is spread out farther, this will be a little bit less prominent, and then we're going to put considerably more clay right here to square this off. And I think this is going to work really well. It's a good start, I think. What I'm doing here is I'm just squaring off the top of the head. Wolves and other canines have a really square head. And I'm just filling in a little bit of the space up here above that, above the eye. And we'll also fill in here where the wolf's actual cheekbone is. I think what we need to do now is pull this out so that we have a little bit more on the bottom of his muzzle. Okay, we're going to get a little bit of help from the cat right now. Sorry about the noise. We've kind of got to the point now where I need to start looking at my front drawing here. This is just a really rough sketch, and what I've really paid attention to here is the relationship of different parts. And the one I'm going to work on right now, I'm going to be working on the muzzle. There's a level area on top of the muzzle that goes straight back from the nose. So that's here. That goes directly into the eye, where the eye will sit here, which is at an angle, of course, because it's at kind of on the corner of the skull. Then there's going to be a really nice eyebrow. Eyebrows on any canine are really expressive, unlike the eyebrows on cats. Only the noise on a cat is expressive. I'm sorry, Keely, I didn't mean to say that. I take it back. It kind of helps, I've noticed, if you make a really rough sketch and you don't put anything on there except for the basic geometry. For some reason, when I'm looking at a photograph, my eye transfers it into 3 dimensions, and then I build something that looks just like the photograph, and when I back away from it, it's flat. And this seems to help. Now, if you remember when we were looking at this, the animal anatomy book, the bone for the cheek goes up quite high and behind the eye. So we're going to actually bring this up a little bit. So it matches this line here. So that'll help us set the eye in the correct place. So keep looking at it to try to make sure that I have both sides the same. The the mask form that I used was made over a plastic skull, like I told you before, and the plastic skull, I'm sure, was made using a casting of a real human face or human skull after the person, of course, was finished using it. And the skull, like all human beings, was not quite symmetrical. So my cheekbone on this side tends to be a little bit farther out than the cheekbone on the other side because that's the way the underlying mask form is built. So the same thing happens on the mask form that I built for my own head, because my nose is crooked. So naturally, almost every mask I make has a crooked nose. It's just something you have to be aware of. And it's okay if things aren't symmetrical, because nobody is. There aren't any truly symmetrical animals or truly symmetrical people. But it's nice if you can come close. Well, that's as far as I was able to get today. I'll go ahead and put together another video just as soon as I get these eyes in here. And in the next video, I also hope to be able to find the spot where the ears will go. Maybe do a little bit of smoothing, but I doubt very much that I'll be able to get very much done on texturing or getting any fur, because we're going to have to do a lot of work to get this really tight and get all the shapes smoothed out and exactly the way we want them. So for me and Keely, I say thank you very much for watching. Be sure, if you would like to see the rest of this video to see how this wolf turns out, come over to ultimatepapermache.com. You can do a search for wolf and I'm sure you'll be able to find it. If you're out on the YouTube channel, just go ahead and go to Ultimate Paper Mache channel and do a search for wolf and you'll be able to see how it comes out. So thank you very much for watching. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.